Have you ever just gone outside? You might not be feeling particularly good about yourself, but you go outside and you just stand there. It's a sunny day. You lift your face up to the sun, eyes closed, and just feel the warmth of the sun on your face and body. What an amazing feeling. To me, that's one of the best feelings. Just feeling, being out there in nature, feeling the sun. What a great feeling. Now, how did I get to that feeling? Because I have life. How did I get life? God gave it to me. Now, there's a lot of people that argue, I don't believe in God. No, that's up to you. Good news is God believes in you. God isn't a fairy. God doesn't blink out of existence as soon as you say, I don't believe in God. The problem is, as a society, I think we've lost sight of what God is, and we have become so divided that even churches have all these little factions, all thinking they're better than the other, all vying for their little bit of the community so they can survive. And ultimately they do the same thing. They provide ministry to God's children, for we are all God's children, whether you believe in God or not. That doesn't mean to say you're not God's child. And I've seen a lot of people who are atheists say, I don't believe in God. And why don't they believe in God? Two reasons mainly. One, they haven't looked at the evidence. Two, they anthropomorphize God. So when they say, I don't believe in God because I prayed and I didn't win the lottery. I don't believe in God because babies die in Gaza. I don't believe in God because he allows rich people to commit crime and get away with it. They think of God in human terms. But God's not human. You have to think, to truly appreciate God, you have to think on a much bigger scale. As big as we can think, it's still nothing. And I'll try and rationalise it for you. So to me, I look out, there's maybe sort of, the numbers differ, but say in the Milky Way, there's 100 billion stars, all with their own planets. So the chances of us being alone on those, in this vast universe even, is almost mathematically impossible. And if you accept God created the universe, he created all those stars. Now we're just one galaxy in billions. The universe is so utterly, utterly vast. And if we accept God created the universe, then we cannot possibly think of God as a man, as in human terms. We see time as linear, but time isn't linear. It is for us because it helps us make sense of things. But things always have been and things always will be. And that's a concept we find very, very difficult to get our heads around. But in the meantime, having considered the vastness of space, I also considered another thing which I've never seen in any science fiction thing. But if God created the universe and there are aliens out there and they have religion, it's the same God that they worship. If they worship God, it's the same one that we worship. And if aliens can worship the same God as us, how do we stay so divided? How do we have all these little factions all vying for a piece of the pie? When we should be coming together as one race to consider what we can do for God. Yet as a society, everything I read is about what can God do for me? God didn't do this for me, so I'm not going to believe in God and I'm not going to do anything. Yet you're missing out. helping people, helping other people is one of the best feelings that we have. Now, I'm lucky enough that I have a job where I help people every day. And I love it. I love problem solving. And it's where my skill sets lie. Now, I've never been the best, the brightest, the strongest. In little groups, I've been all of those things, just in little groups. And I think sometimes that's the point. There is a tendency for people, if they are the strongest in a little group, to stay within that little group and savour the moments where they can be the strongest. But it's not going to last forever. That will pass. People will come up under you and you will lose that. So it's about looking at the bigger picture, having a wider appreciation of who we are as a human race. Not this infighting with the world's best and brightest, not calling each other paedophiles and drug takers. How do we sink so low as a society where these are the people that we vote in? These are the people we look up to. These are the people whose companies we buy shares in. We have sunk so low because we've lost touch with the basics. Now, believe it or not, one of my measures, of wealth is a can of Coke. Because I can remember the time when I was a kid when I really wanted a can of Coke and I couldn't afford it. I could not afford to go into a shop and buy a can of Coke. And I just found that Coke just, on a sunny day, to me, at sunrise this summer, I get a lot of pleasure from just this one thing. And now, of course, I can afford to buy a can of Coke whenever I want one. But I still remember that time when I couldn't. And that keeps me grounded. And it keeps me in mind of my purpose in life. So my purpose in life is basically to help others, but it's also to learn. It's also to remember where I came from and where I'm going to. So I have a vision and I have values, and that gives me a purpose. It's not about gaudy trappings, as we've been conditioned to believe, and so many people spend vast portions of their income on stuff that they don't need, just that they can look wealthier than they actually are. And that gives us a quick dopamine fix at best. But consider Jesus. Jesus had nothing. He was a travelling craftsman. He went about his business and he offered work for food, for shelter, for clothing. He didn't ask money. And he preached as he went along, certainly in his last 3 years, but he was itinerant. And he managed to gather together so ignorant, relatively unintelligent fishermen, and they became his preachers out in the world. They became the apostles. They became the founding of the Christian faith. That little group, and what huge ramifications that had. Jesus was a historical figure. He wasn't mythical, he existed. So my plea to you is try and find out more about what your values are, try and help more people, and let's come together as God's children and let's cast those divisions aside and let's learn to love one another. And the beginning of that is be the best person you can be for yourself. And don't put yourself up above others, just be there for you. Help others and you will feel good. Help others and you will have purpose. Help others and you become more like Jesus wants you to be.